hit. Yes! Hit.
Here we go.
Go now. Let's go now.
Here we go. Hey.
Hey.
Come on, team. Here we go now. Who?
Je m'appelle Sarika, je suis intervenante en violence conjugale et un peu comme Winnie, mon initiation aux steps a été avec le film Stone the Yard et j'ai toujours apprécié cette forme d'art, quoique je ne la pratique pas. Donc, je fais partie de l'équipe de Montreal Steppers, mais je suis en arrière-scène, donc dans tout ce qui est planification et production de nos spectacles. Et dès le départ, quand le groupe a commencé à performer avec Montreal Gospel Choir, j'ai fait savoir à Karim que j'étais 100% avec lui là-dedans. Donc, peu importe la forme que ça prenait dans le futur, je voulais être impliquée d'une façon ou d'une autre.
We all met in MGC, Montreal Gospel Choir. So we're all singers, and of course, we all came from different places. Me specifically, I grew up in the Caribbean, St. Kitts in the West Indies, and the folks will tell you about their different roots as well, but our central point, the place that brought us together was Montreal Gospel Choir. I have a background in step. I learned stepping, did stepping when I was in university, and when I moved to Montreal, I was not employed as yet. So in that time, I was thinking, what can I do to serve the community? How can I make myself feel a little bit more useful as I'm waiting to do the job or the work that I wanted to do? I volunteered at a high school, and they said, well, you know, you can teach the students whatever you want to. And I was like, oh, why not teach them step? So I did, and then the principal and the teachers and the parents, they said, do you do this regularly? And I said, oh no, I was just doing this to keep myself occupied. And then someone said, you know, you can actually do this kind of work. And I said, oh. So fast forward, what we have embedded in Montreal Steppers is workshops in the schools. And there's something about seeing young kids just eat up the stepping, but also ask you, so why did that happen to black people so long ago? Because they can't even understand it. So I am very clearly in their face. I say on screen, look at my face, I'm a black man, and the history of stepping really was, you know, developed and created by black people. But because this happened, where the instruments were removed and they used their bodies to express themselves, the kids are innocently asking, well, why did that happen? And why did I allow that to happen? And that is rich. Now, we do that, and then the teachers have to do a lot of follow-up. So we usually say we're causing havoc and then running away. But we are just, the big term we talked about this year was influence in the dialogue around the importance of Black lives. Because we want people to know where it came from. And I always tell the kids, if you're learning a new dance or instrument, ask your teacher, where did this come from? And they'll look at me like, what are you talking about? I said, ask them, so that you could know where it came from. Why? In 30 years, someone can say, oh, Winnie created stepping, because nobody knew what it was. So the history of it is lost. So our big push, or at least what I share, is make sure you're giving the recognition. You know, you're not appropriating it in any way, just to say, look at this cool thing, but you're actually recognizing and understanding where it came from. And this is what we say. We perform stepping on the lights and outfits and shirts, but in the early 1900s, this was expression for themselves, for survival. You know, that's the power of it. So when we now dig deeper or dive deeper into stepping, we are intentional about it being Black folks, people of color dominantly, that engage as we go deeper, because we want there to be that connection and representation. not everybody black identifies with stepping, right? So that's also one thing we say. I don't want to say, you're black, so you can do it. You're not black, you can't do it. That's very different. But as we go into talking about why it was created, there has to be some sort of understanding. So when we put this out, like the route to Canada, and we're talking about the elements of black history and the struggle, we want that to be represented in who's on the screen. So stepping is for everyone. If you want to learn, you can do it. If we want to present in a certain way, then we are careful with how we do that. So everything that you would have seen to Canada, we sat down, we thought about it, we were like, okay, who's going to be saying this, who's going to be doing this, and how are we going to present that in a way that connects with, you know, everyone. And it grabs the attention. People are like, oh, that's interesting. You mentioned it being a fun way to learn history, to engage in the history. And I think because I can show up in a workshop, because we can show up on screen, and then people can be captivated by this incredible thing that we're doing, it also provides a nice way of just incorporating a lot of learning and challenge in what we call maybe a comfortable and safe way, right? I would love to see stepping groups just popping back up in Montreal. We're not bringing stepping to the province. Stepping was already here, and that's the big misconception. Stepping groups were here 20, 30 years ago, competition between provinces, different groups. It would be nice to have that again.
Often when I tell people, oh, you know, like I'm part of the Montreal Steppers, you know, it's a steps group, and the question that follows up is, what is steps? And for me, I think one of the goals we could achieve, that I would love for us to achieve in this lifetime, is whenever, you know, you say stepping, people know what it is. You don't have to explain what it is, because we would have shared enough with the community for them to at least know what stepping is and where it's from, and they're like, oh yeah, the art form, yeah, I've heard about stepping. That would be like, it's a personal goal, but that's a goal I think we all share, that people would know about it, know where it's from, and know at least the impact it could have in their lives.
Moi, le futur du groupe, ce serait que on transmet tout ce qu'on sait à la communauté pour que la communauté, elle, puisse transmettre ce message puis se tord à travers d'autres générations futures. Fait que c'est pas plus à propos du groupe, combien on devient populaire, c'est plus l'ampleur du message et l'éducation de générations à venir par rapport au step.
And there's the saying, right? If we're standing tall, if we're all standing tall and Montreal Steppers, and we look good and we sound good and people are moved, it's because we're standing on the shoulders of the people who did that way before.